I'm going to have Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and let me put my banners up so people know to come over to Patreon and my comments. So hi, I'm going to do a reintroduction TikTok because I'm on other social media now. Hi, it's Dr. Wendy Walsh. I'm America's relationship expert. Welcome to my live stream that I do every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific time. If you have questions about your love life or relationship, I'm here for you and I'm happy to answer them. I see Linda's on board from Pasadena. Sai, I can't remember. He calls me his YouTube wife. I can't remember where you're watching from. As a man, when you start talking about your feelings, you're toast. It depends how. You know, my favorite saying is, women like a man who can cry, but not very often, right? So if you are a man and you have feelings, and that means you're a human being, finding a way to express them in a non-threatening way. You know, I think when people say things like, oh, men or women don't want someone who's needy, or they don't want someone who's the right person is going to be totally comfortable with you being authentic. It's that some people have an emotionally avoidant attachment style and it makes them feel uncomfortable, but not the right person. So you can use your authenticity as a litmus test. Not always, guys. I'm telling you. If you cry a lot and in a manipulative way, I did date a guy once who would sob openly, like in restaurants, big tears, like he's just trying to manipulate me. That's different than having a moment. I'm in a sexless relationship after 9 years. He says he has no desire. Is that grounds to leave? Well, it's certainly grounds to go into therapy together. And it's certainly grounds for you guys to have a conversation about your prospective needs. There are lots of relationships that fall into mature companionate love, and they're perfectly content, but it sounds like you're unhappy with the situation. And so it's not that it's grounds to leave, it's grounds to try to find ways to work on your relationship. Oh, nice, Linda, you're sitting on your patio. Hi, Giorgio Spencer. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Claremont. Hello. When do you accept someone who won't change? This is an excellent question because really the answer is, what are your boundaries and what can you accept? And what reaction will you have to behavior that feels like it crosses your boundaries? This is an inside job for you, deciding what you want to live with. No partner is perfect. You know, we find these people and we think they're so different than us and they're so exciting because they're so different. And then we try to change them and clone them into us and make them just like us. So, you know, the truth is you decide what your boundaries are and you decide what you will accept. I'm going to say also on this camera, hello to Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter. And if you guys have any relationship questions, you can post the comments. I think they load over here. I certainly see Linda and Sai on board, their comments coming. So I know YouTube and Facebook is for sure. Oh, thank you for your kind compliments. That's very nice. How'd I get a hat on? That's cool. I don't know how TikTok works. These roses and diamonds and hats, I don't know what they do, but I'm not going to accept anyone who wants to go live with me because, you know, anything can happen, right? How to tell if somebody is really into you? They sacrifice for you. They make time for you. If they're just breadcrumbing you, giving you little digital micro communications, likes and little comments on your social media, but they're not actually picking up the phone, they're not sacrificing and showing up and doing kind things for you, then they're not into you. Because when somebody's into somebody, they sacrifice for the other person. I had a miscarriage, oh, I'm sorry, while I was with my ex, and then I found out he was cheating. How do I move on? Well, you've got to go through a period of grieving two things, the loss of your pregnancy and also the loss of this relationship. It's, you know, the biggest answer, I'm sorry to tell you, is time, right? And I highly suggest that you find a good licensed therapist to work with as you work through your grief. But I'm sorry you're going through this. Hi, Christine. Good to see you down here. If you guys have questions down on this camera too, on my other social media, you're welcome to post them. I want to remind everybody that I do this for just 10 or 15 minutes on Tuesday nights before I go over to my exclusive private Zoom room on Patreon. And if you'd like to join my Patreon community of love warriors, it's very simple. You go to patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh, patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. Love to have you on board. Is it true that men tend to go for women who are most like their mother? Yeah, and women go for men. Oh, I'm pulling on my microphone here. That changed my camera. And women go for men that are most or like their fathers, right? Because our model for love is made up of 3 different relationships. In our head, we have an idea of what love is or should be. And it's a layering of 3 different kinds of relationships we experienced in early life. First of all, the relationship we had with our mother, then the relationship we had with our father, and then the relationship that we witnessed between the 2 of them. And our version of love becomes some kind of combination of those. Someone says, I can't shake an old relationship from years ago. Well, that old relationship is what psychologists would call a convenient object. It's not about that person. It's about your attachment anxiety. It's about your ability to, or your disability to move on, right? And so I would highly suggest you do some reading about romantic attachment style and think about how much anxiety you have and whether that love for this person and this feeling of loss is really about belongs somewhere else, some early place in your life where you had some feelings of loss. Why would someone go from straight to gay in a relationship? Because gender expression and sexual orientation, 2 separate things, are fluid. And, we're all anthropologically wired to respond to environmental pressures. And, we're wired to be bisexual, not any given person on any given day, but our ancient biology is wired to be bisexual, depending on what pressures. We certainly know about situational homosexuality, same-sex boarding schools, convents, the military, etc. We're wired to bond. We're wired to need touch and closeness. Sex is not just for reproduction. It's for all kinds of reasons. And sexual orientation can be fluid across the lifespan. Nothing is set in stone about who we are. And we have to just open our minds and our hearts and understand that all human love is just love, right? Sydney's back. Hi, Sydney. How are you? Sydney always has a good question. Today, Sydney says, people with autism spectrum disorder struggle with social skills. What are your tips for people with autism to build a successful romantic relationship and to find a romantic partner? Well, the answer is to tell the person from the beginning that this is a struggle for you. And plenty of people on the spectrum find wonderful relationships with neurotypical people. Other times they go on dating apps that are specifically for partners who are non-neurotypical. There's also social skills training. There are lots of dating coaches that specialize in people on the spectrum. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Steve. Good to see you. Yeah. How do you always keep your man into you? How do you keep the fire burning forever? Well, this is not just about keeping a man into you. It's also about keeping anybody of any gender who's your primary love relationship, keeping that spark alive. And the answer, according to lots of scientific research, is novelty. Like literally go to different places, different parts of town you've never been together, do some activities you've never done together, see your partner in a different light, see your partner enjoying themselves in different locations. This is how, if you're doing the same thing over and over, humans get bored really easy. Whether it's the same position in the bedroom or whether it's going to the same restaurant around the corner, you have to add novelty to keep the relationship excitement. My boyfriend broke up with me after one time disrespect me, even though he always disrespected me. Why? This is one of those questions where I'm going to ask a stone cold, hard truth question. Your question shouldn't be, why did he disrespect you? Because what is that question really saying? Why am I not worthy of his love? Which is the wrong question. You are worthy of his love. The question you should be answering is why you were attracted to somebody who hurts you, somebody who disrespects you. And that has to do with your attachment style. The good news is attachment styles can be changed across the lifespan. Attachment injuries can be healed. So read some more about it. Jonathan, you got a question coming up? I see question, but I see nothing written. Oh, there's nothing wrong. Kyle, I love this question, actually. It's very romantic. Kyle says, I always think about how and where I will find love. And I just turned 20. I always think about what love and sex will feel like. How do I focus on just living my life in the present? Well, I want you to know that every human being, we're wired to bond. Whether we're into long-term monogamy or multiple partners or whatever, every other thing we do in life, education, work, whatever, anthropologically, is designed to give us access to more mates or higher status mates. And we are on this planet for one reason: reproduction. That's basically it. And so attaining mates, thinking about mates, the wonderful neurohormones that come with feelings of love are a primary occupation of most humans. They really are. It's a lot, Zoe. It's a lot. I'm going to see. I can't fit it on all on one screen. So it sounds like you've got a tangled web here. Zoe says she and her boyfriend have been together for 3 years. They had a bad breakup a year in, and you were heartbroken, and your parents ended up hating him so badly that your dad claimed he was cursed. Yeah, crazy. And then I'm 28 and told my parents we broke up 2 years ago. I still don't have the courage to tell them that I'm in a committed relationship with him. Okay, you just got to do it. You got to dive in and tell the truth. You can't live a world of lies, especially with people you love. Okay, so you got to tell him, Zoe, and you got to tell him that he's treating you well now, if he is. I hope he is. I didn't see Jordan Peterson's video. I'll have to look it up. Some of the things he says I really, really agree with, and some of the things he says I don't. So I never know which way it's going to go. Oh, my husband of 17 years cheated on me 3 times. I have 3 kids, decided to try again through therapy. Well, I will say that, stay in therapy, because the best way to predict somebody's future behavior is their past behavior. Sorry, he cheated 3 times. You think 4th time's going to be a charm? I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad you're in therapy. I think that's very, very important. Oh, Steve, I'm going to put your comment up there because it's nice. It makes me feel good this week. Steve says I'm always brilliant. I don't know about that. Why are the love languages so important? Well, actually, there's been, as far as I know, unless you can send me some studies, there's been no research to say that this is science at all. A Christian counselor wrote a book a bunch of years ago and said, oh, people have different ways of expressing their love and love languages. And it's kind of common sense, but it hasn't been proven in research. Far more interesting to me is people's romantic attachment style, because attachment theory is well proven, and our attachment style influences everything in our life and every kind of relationship. It's okay to ask my partner if he's ever cheated in a previous relationship. If you have intimacy, you should be able to ask your partner anything. But the real answer is, what would the answer mean to you? And what is your reaction going to be? I'd plan for lots of answers in your head, because getting to know somebody means getting to know some of their flaws as well. And that's what real audience is, or real audience authenticity is. How do you find your romantic attachment style? My favorite test, there's a researcher by the name of Chris Fraley, F-R-A-L-E-Y, Chris Fraley. You Google the words Chris Fraley attachment test and you'll find a really good one. The attachment styles. Well, I can't give you an entire lecture, but I will say that loosely, they are people with an anxious attachment style and an avoidant attachment style, a secure attachment style, and a disorganized attachment style, sometimes called fearful avoidant or anxious ambivalent. And they are based on partly genetic predisposition and partly the kind of relationship we had with our parents in like the first year or 2 of life. And so that becomes this blueprint for love. And we will go out and find partners who will make us feel the same way, which is great if we had a secure attachment with our parents. But if unfortunately love was filled with longing or abuse or loss, we will find partners that will give us that because we will think that's love. And that feels normal to us in some way. All right, I'm going to go because at 6:30 I'm opening up that's in 15 minutes, my private exclusive Zoom room in my Patreon community. If you'd like to come and join us, you can join for as little as $8 a month. You go to patreon.com, patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. My podcast, Mating Matters, is there. All my articles, I post articles a few times a week. My books are there. It's a way to access all kinds of information on the science of love. I'm building a wonderful community of love warriors. So come and join me. We're opening up our Zoom room in 15 minutes. Patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. It's always great to see you on my live stream. And don't forget to listen to the Dr. Wendy Walsh show. You can listen to my radio show anytime on the iHeartRadio app. I am live Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Good to see everybody. Bye.